Hello. Oh, my camera lagged a bit there. But, yeah. Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Thank you for joining. Hello to Jikmera. Hello, Aman. Hello, Nepi, Sika, Van, Lay, and anyone else who is joining us for our stream today. I had a billion tabs open before the stream started, so I had to make sure I was closing all of them or saving the ones I wanted to save. And I think we got there. Yep, pretty much. I am good. I made a lot of progress on the assignment I was working on today, and I'm really happy about that. So, yeah. Oh, thanks everyone for asking. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm well. So, happy. Yeah, going into the stream. I'm also excited for you, Van, for your server working out. I saw you got a few members after updating your Tumblr post. Not sure if this applies to anyone, but Van here is working on or has opened a server for Spanish-speaking Hellenic polytheists, I believe. So if you speak Spanish or communicate in Spanish, then feel free to shout in the chat. Maybe not too loud, don't shout, but the bot might get you. But pop a message in the chat, and if you know anyone who speaks Spanish who may be interested in Hellpole, then let them know of that as well. All right. Sylvester, last time you were in here, you had donated. So you get to go to the top because we didn't get to do a reading last time. You get priority because of that previous one. So please stick around because we'll get to you right after we do all the housekeeping stuff. Alright, so as usual, we're going to do our opening hymn to Hermes. And then someone can feel free to select what our next hymn will be. We'll dedicate another hymn to a different deity. Hear me, Hermes, messenger of Zeus, son of Maia, almighty in heart, lord of the deceased, judge of contests, gentle and clever, O Argefontes. You are the guide of the flying sandals, a man-loving prophet to mortals, a vigorous god you delight in exercise and in deceit. Interpreter of all you are, and a profiteer who frees us of cares, who holds in his hands the blameless tool of peace. Lord of Korikos, blessed, helpful and skilled in words, you assist in work and you are a friend of mortals in need. You wield the dreaded, the respected weapon of speech. Hear my prayer and grant a good end to a life of industry, gracious talk and mindfulness. That was our hymn to Hermes, the god to whom we dedicate this divination stream to. Have we done Apollon? I don't remember. No, we haven't, because I would have remembered saying this. Okay, we'll do Apollon this time. His incense is powdered frankincense. That's cool. Come, O blessed Paean, O slayer of Tityos, O Phoebus, O Lycorius, giver of riches, illustrious dweller of Memphis, O god to whom we cry ear. O Titan and Pythian god, yours are the golden lyre, the seeds and the ploughs. Grenian, Smithian, slayer of Python, Delphic diviner wild, light-bringing, lovable god you are, O glorious youth. You shoot your arrows from afar, you lead the muses into dance. O Holy One, you are Bacchus, Didymeus, Loxias too, Lord of Delos, you are the eye that sees all, you bring light to mortals, your hair is golden, your oracular utterance is clear. Hear me with kindly heart as I pray for people. You gaze upon all the ethereal vastness, upon the rich earth you look through the twilight. In the quiet darkness of a night lit with stars, you see earth's roots below, you hold the bounds of the whole world, the beginning and the end to come are yours. You will make everything bloom with your versatile lyre. You harmonize the poles, now reaching the highest pitch. Now the lowest, now again with a Doric mode, harmoniously balancing the poles. You keep the living races distinct, you have infused harmony into the lot of all men, giving them an equal measure of winter and summer. The lowest notes you strike in the winter, the highest you make distinct in the summer. Your mode is Doric for spring's lovely and blooming season. This is why mortals call you Lord and Pan, the two-horned god who sends the whistling winds. It is for this you have the master seal of the entire cosmos. O Blessed One, hear the suppliant voice of the initiates and save them. I didn't realize he had such a long Orphic hymn, but that was a very beautiful one. Thank you to Van and Neppy for suggesting Apollon for our dedicated hymn. Welcome in to B. Alright, let's see. Sylvester, please put your request in the chat and we'll do your one. Double hydrate. I'm drinking my water. So the book that I have is the Orphic Hymns, translated by Apostolos and Athanasakis and Benjamin M. Wolko. This cover, which is my favorite cover of the Orphic Hymns. You can order this on Amazon. Sometimes it's available in bookshops, local bookshops. My partner got it for me for my birthday last year. He ordered it on Amazon, I think. So yeah, it has the Orphic Hymns, which is one of the primary collection of hymns that we use as Hellenic polytheists, the other one being the Homeric hymns. And yeah, it's really cool. I love the Orphic Hymns. Because Hecate has one in it, and it's dedicated to her, rather than not having one in the Homeric hymns. Thank you. Yes, it does look cool. I believe they just have one each. Someone tag, can one of my mods tag Sylvester in the chat just to let them know again that it's their turn, just in case they're not here or not typing. Well, some of them have multiple in that different epithets are called on. So Hermes has one that I read usually. And then we also have a chthonic Hermes. We have, I think Zeus is in here a couple times. Dionysus multiple times. Yeah, that's what I'd say for that. Dionysus probably has the most in here because the Orphic hymns are from a tradition, mystery tradition of Hellenic polytheism or ancient Greek religion by the poet Orpheus, which centered or greatly emphasized worship of Dionysus. and Dionysus was an important figure in the Orphic cosmology or lore or beliefs. So that makes sense that he would be in it multiple times. And there's a theory that part of their mystery rites included like reading the entirety of the Orphic hymns, which is why you may see certain things, such as like in the Apollon hymn, you know, please look upon your initiates and save them. Like it's, you know, this concept of like salvation within the Orphic hymns, or the Orphism, which I believe was a salvation-based mystery religion, which a lot of them were. A promise of a better afterlife. Also, we got a Haniel moment. Here's our Haniel. But yes, that's why you get moments of like why certain hymns sound the way they sound. It's like, oh, why did they say that? Like that's a bit interesting, or you know, that seems a bit intense. It's because they were associated with the rites. Anyway, that was a fun fact, extended fun fact. Alright, it looks like Sylvester's not here. Can I ask, I want to try this command, if one of my mods can do the rotate command, so do exclamation mark and then rotate, and then see if that works. Try not to do it all at once, because if you do it all at once, you do it multiple times, and that will probably not be good. So one of you do it. A Haniel moment, it represents my cat. So yeah, as Neppy just said, that's my cat. Boop, boop, boop. Her name is Haniel. So it means I put a picture of Haniel up on the screen. Okay, cool. So that just made it so whoever was next in the queue is live, and then whoever was just number one is now at the bottom of the queue. So it means I don't have to remove the person. So this helps a lot when someone's not here. I just found out the other week. So yeah, Jigmero, let me know what you'd like for your reading, and we'll get into it. Okay, let me take a read of your request. You've been planning to co-rent an art workspace or office with two friends. Financial commitment, yes. Okay, I get what you mean by it could be future telling, could not. I can still do like a sort of like a vibe check. Like I can't tell you, oh, this is exactly what's going to happen, but we can probably read for like, you know, is this a suitable, you know, choice to do? Is there like maybe if anything comes up that says, oh, maybe don't do that. That's exciting though, that you're considering that. Like even if you don't end up doing it, or like whatever happens, right? It's an exciting thing to plan out and consider for yourself. And you know, it's much easier to co-rent a workspace or office than to do it by yourself. Alright, get a vibe check for this. Oh dear. Oh, that's very polarizing.
Go on.
Interesting. Okay. These are the cards we're using. Okay, so it's not bad. Don't worry about that. I've got the vibe. So, obviously we see that the Ten of Swords is here, but we also had the World at the start. And then we had the Hierophant and the Seven of Cups. And then we had the Queen of Wands and Nine of Cups. Not necessarily paired off like that, but I at least see these two a bit separate from the others. So there's that one and the World. What I see going on with this is that there might be things like right as it's happening that you like that happens, and then you're kind of like, oh, I don't know if this is the right choice. So, you know, someone gets a bit flaky about like how much they want to pay. Someone's like, oh, I don't know about this. Like I'm a bit nervous because of all these reasons, and it sounds like really overwhelming. Or, you know, something suddenly like shifts for you in some area, and you think, oh, I don't know if this is the right time to do this. It's like someone feels, or all of you feel, or two of you feel, you know, whatever combination. It can get a bit like nerving or dicey. And it can feel like, oh, well, I should have known, or, you know, this is not right for us, or like it feels really bad. But I want to assure you, because of all the other cards that have come, that that's like, this is not the end point of like this idea, right? So you probably know this already. A lot of people know when things like happen and change, that's like the prime time when a lot of things can go a bit wonky, or it can feel like it. You can feel a bit stressed about it. You can feel worried. It's really normal, because any transition point is change. You're shifting away from something that's your normal into a different normal. That's going to take time. And of course, that comes with all its difficulties and anxieties. And what I see in this Ten of Swords is not just like, you know, the injuries of the swords and the swords stabbing you down and feeling helpless. It's this idea that you're at the end of a cycle. So number 10, coming to the end of something, and then the yellow sky coming up is that hope. So it's the hope of a new day. It could even be that it signifies the ending of this helpless feeling that you guys are feeling because you don't have your own space. Like that could be it as well. That really like heavy feeling that you might experience right before this change happens. Like, I really want to get to this new space. I really want to get there now. Like, I can't wait. I want to get out of this like normal to get to this new normal. Why isn't it coming sooner? Or like, I'm worried. What if it doesn't work out? And then sometimes, you know, we get worried about if it's going to work out or not. And then it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy, which, you know, hopefully by considering the different points of transition, the different feelings you might all have, the different contexts and situations you guys are coming from, it will empower you to be more hopeful about what is to come, because it's not like, this is not like a split right in the middle and you're going to go from this to this. It's the gradual transition, just like the gradual yellow. So this is the beginning, and this is the vibe of the beginning, because we move into the world and all these other cards, which signify really good things about this opportunity or this idea. The world is a really great card of fulfillment, things coming full circle, things coming together really well. Very similar to this Nine of Cups here, wish fulfillment, creativity. The Hierophant is a good omen as well, because the Hierophant's around like institutions, organizations, structures, buildings, things like that. And it's sort of like this workspace is your Hierophant. It's like the pillars here, right? The workspaces are your pillars. They're your key to the next part of your journey as artists. I do see a bit of a thing where it's like someone might need to take charge of something. Like, for example, if you rent a space, if you only can have one person who is like the primary renter or primary contact, there might be a situation where you have to consider like who might that be and what does that mean, and does it truly change the dynamic of sharing a space? Something like that as well, like about authority and like who is considered that in the trio, because it's 3 people here. But it doesn't have to like mean anything like bad. It's just like considering things such as responsibility, because as you said, it's a financial commitment, it's a social commitment, it's something that you're doing together. But there tends to be a lot of time in these situations one person who is the key responsible person. So maybe the key bank account that the money is drawn from, the key person who may sign something, stuff like that. Sylvester, you're back again. I'm putting you second because you were meant to be first, but we couldn't find you. I'm putting you second now. Please stay, Sylvester. Alright. 7 of Cups. All good. Choices, decisions, being a bit unsure about what choice to make, things like that. I'd say when making decisions as a group, there's going to be a lot more better decisions than bad decisions. You don't have to be afraid of making a wrong choice. Like, even something like as simple as decorating the space, or what furniture you get, or what times you guys go in. It's like some things are not as serious and they'll be fine because we have a lot of good cups here. So don't get too caught up on the single bad cup or like the scary decision when there's a lot of other good decisions, right? They exist on different levels, different priorities, different importance, different impacts. So remember that. And Queen of Wands in general, overall, is a very good card for your passions and creativity as well, your growth. It's a growth opportunity. You know, there are, the Black Cat here, there are little things to look out for, things to keep note of, like we've mentioned here. But overall, it's going to be a good time, a sunny, good time. Got the yellow. Again, yellow is very good in the symbolism for hope, for happiness, for good change. So, yeah. There we go. There's your overview. It looks like it's going to work. It's going to, be something that goes ahead. But there are these things to keep in mind and to consider in a dynamic such as yours and a decision like this. I wouldn't worry too much about if working styles are a bit different. As long as it doesn't cause anyone to feel like they're not being heard or not being considered in decision making, stuff like that. Hopefully that all makes sense to you. Oh, 100 bits, thank you. You're welcome. I wish you the best with that because I think it's cool. Like, if I was doing that with my friends, I'd be all over it. I'd be like, that's so cool. I want to do this. I want to get into it. I'll do all the paperwork and, I'm very a paperwork person, so. Awesome. Alright. Sylvester's next. Let me know what you'd like for your reading. Just as a reminder for anyone who is listening in, oh, well, that's relevant. I was about to say, please make sure you check my boundaries in the About section. My boundaries about what I prefer to read and not prefer to read. Love readings are under things that I would prefer not to read about. It's not something I specialize in. Just let me know whenever you're out of the ad. Obviously you can't hear me if you're in the ad, but whenever you're out of it, then we can start with your reading. Okay, cool. General reading. Is there any other area or question you'd want to ask? Because you can take your time to think of one, but if you want to do general, we'll do general. Alright, general it is. Nope. 10 of Wands. Ace of Wands. That's a combination. 10 of Swords, the World, the Tower. It feels like there's a lot of back and forth happening in your life, because we go back and forth a lot in this selection of cards here. 10 of Wands, the Ace of Wands, 10 of Swords, the World, the Tower. It's like as if it's a wave that keeps going up and down. A lot of heavy things going on, and then it goes really light. And then a lot of other heavy things going on, and then it's all really nice and harmonious. And then a lot of change happens, and then we don't really see what's next, but we obviously see this pattern being described here. I'm trying to consider this because I haven't really gotten cards like in this way before. Where it's been, again, polarizing is the word I choose. Do you feel as though sometimes, well, for one, that you get burnt out easily, but for two, that you feel like you need to commit to one thing, like you commit to one thing at a time really deeply and a lot, but then you kind of drop off, and then you once again go in and commit deeply to something, and then something might work out, but then because of how much you put into it, like energy-wise, time-wise, all of these things, it ends up burning you out anyway. Like, even though you see results, it can still feel like it's not getting you to the place you want to be. Because that's the story I see being told here, where in the 10 of Wands, you're someone who will carry a lot and who will, try to stick out to the end of things. But then we see this moment of release that ends up still like in this state, and there's like a lack of balance. Well, it's kind of like balance in the wrong places, where you try to like put a lot in, and then you try to disconnect, and it's 2 points of an extreme, as opposed to being more in flow with your needs and how you handle things, your workload, your mental load, what you decide to do from your day to day, how present you are with yourself, your understanding of why you do things and what you're seeking to achieve. So there's sort of like the feeling that you may do things because they seem as though they should be done, and they're done in a certain way because that's how you believe them needing to be done. But then you're left not really sure about Like, you don't have that certainty in you of what you want to see happen. It's like autopilot mode, almost. Oh wow, got the Emperor and the Empress. Are you fighting with anyone at the moment? It'd be a bit ironic if this relates to your question for the love reading, but figured to ask considering the cards we got. Interesting. We have the Emperor, the Empress, the Nine of Wands, and the Five of Wands. Which made me think there might be a fight between you and someone else. Or between you and a pair, so like parents or a couple that you know, like someone else, not necessarily your relationship. Could also represent balancing rather than people. Attributes, because the Emperor represents authority, control. The Empress is more about a free-flowing. It's sort of like growth is natural in a sense, so it's like letting things grow as they do. It might be that there's a bit of conflict going on where in trying to recover from certain things that have happened in this timeline, it's like one part of you wants to be able to command things in a certain way, have things happen in a certain way, certain authority, or to be in a role of leadership that gives you a bit more what is it? A bit more leeway with the things that you do, the things that you want to do. But then there's the other side of you that would enjoy if you didn't have to do that to make things to go your way. If you were able to just let things be nurtured and grow without having to have such a hand in things. It seems the recommendation in general is that there are ways to be less on the extreme of each end and to sort of bridge that as you move forward. Not having to go with just one or the other or the all or nothing mindset, not having to just wait for things to drop before you let yourself recover. There are cues that you can recognize for yourself as opposed to, waiting for this moment. You don't need to wait for this moment to do anything about it or this moment to do anything about it. You can get there at your own accord and for a mix of characteristics as opposed to one thing or another. That's the most I'm able to get from the cards at this moment. See you. Let's go Seeker next. That is the correct way to ask, and the way that sort of request is typically asked, so no worries. Also, I will hydrate. We're going for Hecate. Oh, ask me anything, Redeem. Well, it's as the package says. You can ask me anything. Do I have a personal favourite holiday on the Attic calendar? That is a cool question. Now I need to ponder the calendar. True. I mean, it's a bit of a cop-out to say Hecate's Deipnon because it's the most consistent holiday I celebrate on the Attic calendar, but it's sometimes not even really considered part of the Attic calendar in the same way as other festivals are. But if I were to say something other than Hecate's Deipnon, which is the obvious choice, and one I just like a lot because I think it's like cool, I would say the Theogamia, which is the one that's coming up on the 15th of Feb. It's 27th of Gameleon. That one is about the sacred marriage between Zeus and Hera, I believe. The king and queen of the gods. So, yeah, the sacred marriage, the Hierosgamos of King Zeus and Queen Hera, I think is a really cool holiday because I think Zeus and Hera are underrated and their relationship is talked about a lot in a bad light. So it's nice to see a holiday and ritual dedicated to their marriage. Alright. And what about you, Lei? What's your favourite? So, Seeker, this is your message from Hecate. We've got 3 oracle cards and 2 tarot cards. Your oracle cards are Philaremos, Lover of Solitude, Retreat, which a lot of people tend to get actually, but yeah, there's that one. We also have Full Moon Illumination. Very cool. Full Moon should be happening in about a week and a bit, I think. Because the new moon was earlier this week and it's every 2 weeks. It's a full new moon. And then Circe, Transformation. We have the Hierophant and we also have the Page of Pentacles here. So these two kind of make me lean towards like an actual like school, university, workplace. Something related to like an institution or building or organization. Oh, you missed a bit. No worries. I will go over the oracle cards again. So, oracle cards, Philaremos, Lover of Solitude, Retreat. We have the full moon, which is Illumination. And I was just saying, the full moon is coming up. It's the next major... What's the word? Moon phase. I can actually tell you when it's going to be. So, full moon is going to be the 2nd of Feb. So 2nd of Feb, full moon, keep that in mind. And transformation, Circe. And yes, they are pretty. And then your tarot cards with the Hierophant and the Page of Pentacles. And I was just saying that these paired together tend to indicate something about an institution or organization and something like a study or like a workplace. So it could be university, or it could be, I guess, depending on your age, like, or area that you are in. Could even be if you're like a professor or a teacher. Could be a workplace thing as well, because Pentacles associated with finances, money, career. So with the Hierophant being institutions and Page of Pentacles being the beginning of a pathway in that sense, that's kind of what it hints towards. Could be relevant to what's been spoken about here. But we'll start with the Oracle cards. What I see here is a bit of a recommendation for what you might want to do either leading up to the full moon or for your full moon. I'm unsure if you do any like full moon rituals already, or rites, or any sort of tradition or practice that you have regarding the full moon. But at least here she has a recommendation to do something that you would be doing by yourself rather than with a group or with other people, and something that would be really reflective in nature. So when I see this card in this context here, especially with transformation over on this end, it reminds me of the concept that you can sort of retreat or separate yourself from what you could call like everyday life, everyday things, everyday thoughts, people, places. Don't go running off to some random place in the middle of nowhere, but more so like, you know, making intentional time for yourself. Could just be in the evening, you set up a little thing at your table if you're not able to do it somewhere grander, which you wouldn't have to, but just as example. Or, you know, if it's safe to do so, even doing it outdoors, things like that. But the purpose here being that you would be doing a retreat. So retreating from something, retreating from perhaps something that you... I was going to say that's holding you back. I want to like be clear about the moon facing, because a lot of people mix up the sort of meanings, but because usually full moons, it says illumination here, is usually around illuminating things, bringing things forward, manifesting, realizing things. This like huge like active energy, whereas the new moon and the waning moon tends to be associated with like releasing things and removing. But it's sort of like retreating as a means of being able to be in a mindset that allows you to reflect on the things that you want to see change going forward. And especially good for Feb 2nd, because you'd be thinking about the month ahead and the months to come. That threshold of a new month coming in could be really useful energy as well. But yes, I do see here a suggestion to give yourself that time, that space, that energy. You know, do things that make it seem a bit more like meaningful for you. So, you know, things such as like how you decide to cleanse, because not because you have to do it, like no matter what tradition or religion you are part of, like, or identify with, being clean is always good and feels nice. And it's stuff like, how do you set that atmosphere? Is there certain music you use, certain clothing you wear, certain things you might eat or drink beforehand or during the day, things you can think about and consider? These are thoughts that she's wanting you to run through your mind through all of this, because it's not something where she's saying, get this exact thing on this time and do this at this place. It's more so, you know, like the open arms here. I want you to come forward with the invitation and look for what you want to seek for yourself, which could be related to this matter down here. Perhaps you're looking for some guidance or some illumination or some wisdom or comfort, reassurance regarding something that you're deciding to do. Page of Pentacles is the student. It doesn't have to be formal student status, like you don't have to be formally enrolling in a school. Anyone can be a student of anything if you decide to do so. So something like that. And in that way, we move into Circe's card transformation. Circe being a priestess of Hecate, and you know, she has a very strong relation to the goddess in her stories as well, how she conducts rituals. It's actually funny because her stories involve her being guided to do rituals in a certain way to petition Hecate's help. So it kind of makes sense, like story-wise, you could say, for her to be like guiding you in certain ways to conduct a ritual or conduct a rite or do a ceremony or like do just something with her for her in order to find what you're looking for going forward and for what you need illuminated on your path. So that's an overview of your reading about what she's coming forward with. Tarot cards make you think about the fact that you are considering studying teaching. Oh, to become a teacher. I definitely think that aligns again with the institution and becoming a student, being at the beginning of a student's journey. I think you should do some working with Hecate for this upcoming full moon, which is in a week and 3 days. So it'll give you a bit of time to prepare and consider what you might want to do for that, if you can. I think it's a good time to sort of buckle down on figuring out things. Like no rush to figure it out, of course, but also you're being given the invitation to ask her about it or work with her on that. You have an idea of what to do? That's good. I wish you luck on that because I think teachers are super cool and much needed and underappreciated. It's good work to be a teacher. No matter what sort of field that you're wanting to get into. Oh, another Ask Me Anything. Yes. Feel free to ask me. No worries for a long message. So you've been seeing some pre-recorded tarot reading videos online. The format is like there are a couple crystals / gems in the beginning of the video, and the viewers will be redirected to a different video with a reading based on which of the crystals they vibe with the most. So you're curious on my thoughts on this? Oh yes, so that's called pick a card reading. Usually they have 3 cards like this, or 3 piles of cards. This is for anyone who doesn't know. Like, I'm explaining the context. So they'd have like 3 piles, and then they'd have like a crystal on each one, and you choose which one resonates with you or you feel pulled to. Here's our example. We got the smoky quartz agate and the black tourmaline pile. So my thought on this is that I think they're fine in general, but I have more thoughts. I always have nuanced thoughts about this. So the thing with pick a card readings is that they are prone to not being, specific to you or resonating with you in a way that's constructive or useful. I do think they lean a bit more towards the psychological use of tarot as opposed to the more spiritual based use of tarot. So for me, I prefer and specialize in deity and spirit communication through tarot and oracle cards. And I believe that my cards are influenced by the deities and spirits I call upon and commune with. I believe that, they're in the space with me, they're part of things going on. It's why you may see that I tend to not be very good at general readings. But, so I consider the pick a card readings to be less influenced by spirits or deities. And therefore, when you lean more into the psychological side of things with tarot, which is a very valid way of interpreting tarot too, it's more about how your mind interacts with the messages being given to you. Do they inspire you? Do they, make you question things in a way that's useful? Do they encourage you to look more into something specifically? So let's just say we were doing my pick a card reading and I chose this agate here. And then I got these cards. I got the Four of Cups and the Page of Swords. The pick a card reading is probably not going to tell me there's a specific deity who's saying that you're missing out on this message they're giving you and they want you to know this and offer you this, because that's the style I like to do, where I communicate messages. But they're not going to tell me that, probably. But what they could tell me about the Four of Cups is that there may be things emotionally that I'm blocking out, and I might not be aware enough. I might be too focused on certain other emotional matters that this other one that's coming out of the clouds and clearing up for me, it's something that I am avoiding, something that I am not realizing. But I should notice it because it's giving me the clarity I need. And perhaps for advice for that, we have the Page of Swords, which is to say that, for example, swords are related to matters of the mind, intellect, the voice. So speaking the things that I want to know more about or gain clarity on might be useful for me. And so by speaking them, I personally might be more resonant or more receptive to the things that I'm actually ignoring by accident or I'm not seeing because of some other reason. So you can see there how it was quite general and it wasn't talking about any specific situation in my life or responding to a specific question I had. But I read these two cards in a way that was useful to me because, I am a person who tends to forget certain things about how I feel about things, I guess, or like what I'm thinking of, or like what I'm emotionally attached to. It's like a emotional permanence thing. I am neurodivergent, so that could be related. But I like the advice about speaking my things because I keep a lot of it inside. So having that feedback of I should speak what I want is good because it's true. By speaking what I want, it brings my attention more closely to it, which means I'll pay attention more to gaining clarity on it. To conclude, I think the readings are good and are useful as much as you make them useful for yourself. Tarot is quite collaborative as well and requires feedback to be really constructive, I think, or can become more constructive through feedback. And so you taking it upon yourself to give feedback to yourself about what the cards mean to you is more useful than expecting a pre-recorded video to tell you all the answers that you've been looking for. There you go. Hopefully that made sense and was a good explanation for that. If anyone was secretly choosing, the black tourmaline was the Hermit and the Knight of Wands, and the smoky quartz was the Seven of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles. Alright, Van, it was your turn if you wanted to let me know what you wanted a reading on. Thank you for asking as well, Jigmara, because that was a really cool question. And anyone else, feel free to claim your Ask Me Anything viewer rewards. You can ask me anything. I mean, if it's inappropriate, I'll let you know politely. I won't be offended. And you can pick a different question instead. But otherwise, I'm pretty open to talking about my practice, my spirituality, my beliefs, my religion, sort of like the theory I just spoke about around tarot and what I believe around that. Those are cool questions. Or it could be something completely unrelated about me. So, you know, you've got your options. Hey, you didn't claim it. But that's okay, I'll still answer it. That's the secret. I'll probably still answer your questions if you ask me anyway. But it's fun to claim the viewer rewards. General reading from Hecate or Hermes. Alright, we're gonna read with Hermes. And I'll answer your question to be, I am out of the closet about being pagan. My family does know. My mum is also a pagan and a witch. My siblings, I have 3 siblings who are younger than me. They are not. I'd consider them to be non-religious unless they just haven't told me, but they're not practicing pagans. But they'll still like vibe with my altars and gods and cards. Yeah, but I am very privileged and lucky to be out of the closet for my faith. Have you been, have you spoken much with Hermes recently? Wow, nice cards. Happy, happy cards. At Van, I should say. Relevant for your reading? No. Okay. I asked because he's saying you should, talk to them more. Talk to him more, sorry. King of Swords. Talk to me more. He wants to communicate. He wants to speak. He wants to say things. He has a lot to say. You know, his 10 of Pentacles. This is him like throwing cash out, but it's like God cash. It's like, here's my wisdom, my advice, my counsel, my help, my insight. I don't know if I said insight already. Exactly right. We've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. That's him. Because the Pentacles here, you know, this guy here, that's him. He's like the old man. He's ready to give his inheritance to his children. But then his children are not visiting. His children are not visiting for the inheritance van. You gotta go get the inheritance. He is finding this amusing, but it's true. He's asking you to talk with him more, to communicate, reach out a bit more. He has a lot to give and offer. The High Priestess is here. Not sure if that means you may have like some doubts about your intuition, abilities, clairaudience, claircognizance, clairvoyance. Might be a good opportunity to practice astral more if you haven't been, or even if you have been, to sort of expand a bit more in that. He's not like upset or anything because we have the Sun and with the 3 of Cups. So it really is a like, he's left a voicemail. Will you come visit me? I want to be friends. I have a lot to give. It's a very positive reading though. I can see as well like the High Priestess being related to him wanting to help you cultivate any sort of intuitive based or spiritual based skills or abilities. He is the messenger of the gods. He is the psychopomp. So he's very familiar with moving between the liminal or moving within the liminal, moving between realms. Yeah, things like that. Yes. I think it'd be a good idea for you to try start a few spiritual habits once again, maybe dedicate them to him. He's, he's ready for the friendship. So, yeah, he's opening that up for you. Very clear message, very fun message here. Alright, let me read B's question. How did you tell them your family is all Catholic/Christian? Very scared despite being 25. I hope you're not one of those head-eating pagans. Dang. I'm sorry that your mum has told you that, because that's not a very nice thing to say, and, ignorance is ignorance, of course. People don't know till they know, but it's still, is very hurtful for someone to say that. For me, I didn't start off, I wasn't very discreet either. I started when I was trying to do mathematics, 17, 16 years old. So, but I wasn't a very discreet one. I printed out pictures, put them on my wall, and made altars. But I would try to pass them off as just decorations and stuff. And I didn't talk about it a lot in front of my family because they were, my family did grow up Catholic. So we were Catholic. I was Catholic. I've gone from baptism to confirmation. So there's that. But yeah, I kind of made it a very gradual thing where it's this is part of who I am. I don't really try to, I think at the start I didn't really promote it as in a religious thing. I still went to church when I had to. I still participated in things I had to participate in. Not I was incredibly thrilled about it, but yeah, it was it was easier because of that. I still participated in the things that my family did if they were to do stuff now. We're not actively practicing Catholicism anymore, really. But there's that. And a lot of it lived in my room. It didn't live I wasn't doing this. I wasn't doing tarot readings for people at the start. I wasn't going out doing spiritual based things in my spare time because I was still in high school and I didn't really go out that much in high school. I was a very studious student. So I don't really have very good advice because it was basically walk the line between embracing your habit, or not your habit, sorry, what am I saying? Embracing the hobbies that are associated with it. Embracing the little things you do, the decorations and stuff. I don't know if you live with them or if you live separate, but I never really had to tell them. I only had to maybe nowadays kind of talk about it a bit more, but they don't ask, they don't really wonder, they don't question it in a way. My sister did point to my bust also and asked what it was, and I said, this is for my Kemeticism, my belief in the Egyptian gods. And then that was that. So it was, yeah, a bit different than it's different than essentially coming out, right? Because coming out was much scarier for me years ago. But coming out as in with my sexuality and gender. But it was, yeah, once again, a gradual thing that it's part of my lifestyle. And I didn't call it this is my religion and I refute being Catholic. And because in my years of doing my bachelor's degree, I was a pagan then. Sometimes I still went to the church and sat in the church in the city because it was kind of cool. It's aesthetically pleasing and calming. Very good for meditation. But Yeah. I'm sorry for not giving you better advice, because I don't think I have very actionable advice for approaching a conversation like that. I guess it also depends on what you seek out of telling them. Is it because you don't want to participate in Catholic/Christian traditions? If it's because you just want to like be more out there as yourself, to be yourself. I do like Neppy's advice. I have to read Van's too, but Neppy's advice is essentially what I was trying to say, which is like, it was just like it's like a fun hobby or like a thing I know about, and then like thing that just integrates. It's not just, but it's the best way I can sort of describe the process I saw when I was moving through that or navigating that. And it's kind of like difficult to kind of think about, but you can consider like if it matters for them to know, unless like for you it's a fear of like safety, like you're afraid that if they find out that it will be unsafe for you, then that is a whole different situation. But if it's more about I want people to know who I am and to be myself, sometimes that's about concentrating more on the other people that matter most, about knowing who you are compared to your family. And then if they find out, then they have to deal with it and get used to it in their own way. But yeah. It's tough. I think it's funny that so many mums are coming up. Van's mum, Neppy's mum. I didn't want to say though that I was like, my mum did practice a bit of witchcraft like when I was young. But then I think I identified more closely with being a pagan and a witch before her, and then it became what it was or is now. It can be a very messy and non-linear journey when it comes to family. Doing a stretch. That's very good, Lay. You've got your morning coffee. I'm going to assume that B's typing. Either way, B, it's your divination turn, and also feel free to respond to the conversation we're having too. Also, has everyone checked out the tarot collection on Discord? They added some cool profile frames and profile effects and nameplates. Me running to get the hermit. Ooh, the hermit. I like the hermit's the lantern is very cute because it looks like, you know, it's a cat paw, cat holding the lantern. So Neppy, it's in the, if you go to your like DMs screen and then there's like a shop, click shop, and then the advertised decorations is tarot. They just added it, which is super cool. It should be on both. I don't actually know where it is on thingy phone. Okay, on phone, if you go to you, like in the corner, the bottom right corner, you press your profile, and then at the top, there's an icon on the right side that looks like a shop. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on here, but it's like here, the shop icon. And then it says tarot at the top, although my screen's a bit bright. I think while we wait for B's answer / request, I'm going to check out the Minecraft server because we see that I saw there was a ping that someone may have passed by falling from a high place in the skeleton farm, and I might want to fix that. You're okay, B, don't worry. I just didn't want you to be sitting there absolutely hating what we were saying and then you didn't want to respond to us. But you're fine. Yeah, I'm going to see if I can do something about that because I can't do anything about the grave or the head, the player head, I think, but I'll see what else I could do about it. Oh no, does that mean you would like me, like, does that mean you didn't hear the answer? Which is fine if you didn't, just want to know, because I can just repeat what I said. All good. Sure. Alright, well, we can always answer in the Discord, that is all good. But feel free to let me know what you'd like for your reading. I don't know if I have gaming set up here on my screen. Gaming. Looking for a game to capture. You can look for Minecraft. Where's Minecraft? I don't know if it knows how to capture Minecraft. Alright, never mind. I'm going to take away the ugly layout and bring back the nice layout. What mask am I ready to shed? Oh, that's a cool question. I will draw that in a second because I'm doing a quick detour in the block game. Who's growing pale oak and... Okay, it's fine. It's a bit of a funny stream. It's a very Dionysian question to ask, I feel like. Trying to do it as fast as I can. But this thing's in the way. Getting there, people. Figuring out how to arrange this in a way that would be originally for TarotReading during game stream point redeem. That's funny. Okay, I did a very janky solution, so then when Andrew can come get their head, it will be okay. Alright, sorry for that intermission. Sorry. But I was fixing a thing in the Sanctuary of the Crossroads Minecraft server while we were waiting for you. But I'm here now. Thank you for your patience. You can do it in your server if you want. I'm assuming it'll be like in Spanish or something. Also, I saw that you said something about... Yeah, you finished the presentation. Good job. I will take a look at it later. Okay, what mask is B ready to shed? Dionysus? Oh, that's funny. This is the card I associate with Dionysus in this deck, Breaking Free, Xenagos. So this is a funny pair of cards. We have Reincarnation and Feeding on the Past. And I find that funny because reincarnation is also associated with the past, right? So it's like they're both talking about each other. So what does this mean when it says, or when he's saying that this is the mask that you're ready to shed? Does reincarnation have any significance to you and your path already? Because I feel like this can go in two directions. It can go in the direction of, you know, don't get so words too caught up in it, or it could mean to actually get into it. So you do not work with reincarnation. It could have a different meaning then. What I come to think of when I see this card, Feeding on the Past, is a lot of Dionysian rites in history, or not a lot, but some of the most significant rites of Dionysus that are spoken about in history involve this idea around eating, feasting, feeding on something. There was a lot around, you know, the consumption of animals or meat, or this very animalistic sort of act or rite as part of his mysteries. And so when I see here Feeding on the Past associated with him, I think it's really interesting because it's not just about stepping away from the past. It's not just about moving on. It's not about confronting it in a specific way. It's not about approaching it with fear, but it's approaching it as if having the confidence and also the lack of fear of judgment to be able to approach your past in a way that can seem quote unquote animalistic, to feed on your past, to rip it apart, to really go at it and destroy it without this expectation of how a human should approach the past. So it's not like he's saying it's time for you to stop being he's not just saying it's time for you to stop being afraid of your past and you should go to do this about it, or you should talk to someone about it, or you should go do forgiveness about it or something like that. He's not describing a specific outcome. He's not describing a specific intention in that forgiveness, for example, or revenge, you know, things like that. It's literally instinct. Don't rely. He's saying don't put the feelings first, put the instinct first. What gives you catharsis when dealing with the past? Is it writing it all down on pieces of paper and just absolutely tearing at it, and that allows you to shed the mask of sort of hiding these parts of yourself, or just coping with them and sitting with them? Is it including fire in things? Is it, you know, a bit more literal, if you wanted to do a bit of a sympathetic magic sort of thing? Is it, maybe there are some other traditions or things you might do, but when I see reincarnation here now, having thought about this a bit more in terms of his rites and how he comes through in this card, reincarnation might be the idea of how something keeps coming back, right? And so not literal reincarnation of the self, but the reincarnation of issues, patterns, bad experiences, feelings associated with certain people who, you know, maybe if you feel a certain way just by seeing their name, just by seeing something associated with them, like how does that make you feel? And then what will it take for you to really like get at that? And sorry, didn't mean to shake the table. And really like just get in there and tear it to pieces, and not even like try to do it in the nice and neat way, doing it in the way that Dionysus sees it. He's the only one who has to see it happen. No one else technically needs to. If you do it, like if you try to do it in a certain way. And also with Dionysus's card, it says breaking free. So what I see is breaking free from this cycle of reincarnation of past things happening, not just by forgiving, not just by like letting go like calmly, but really like embodying what it means to feed on the past and like use it to fuel yourself and your passions while still like being the one who's in control and in power, empowering yourself in the face of your fears and your past by his values, as opposed to just being at their mercy, I guess is the way to say it. I suppose in that case, the mask of feeling like of needing to appear in a certain way, even if it's just you and him in a room, like, you know, you don't have to be a professional, you don't have to be neat and tidy, it doesn't have to be clean, it can be really messy, stuff like that. That's his answer for you. What is that emoji? Not like this. Thanks for coming along, Van, and I hope that you have good conversations with Hermes. He was quite clear about what he was going for. And yeah, I'll check out your presentation, and good luck with writing the one for your server as well. Don't hide. No hiding. Bye. Was there anything else you wanted to share in response to that one, B? Before we proceed? No rush to you, just saying in case you were waiting for me to say something. The emoji again? Okay. I hope that's not a bad thing. You're welcome. Thanks for requesting the reading and being around, even though you be working. Arman, it is your turn for a reading. I can read on your relationship with your cards. Everyone has a guardian angel. That's my belief. All right, I can't do too many readings at once, but also like if your cards have any messages for you, it's better to use your cards to divine that rather than someone else's cards. Because I can do one about like how your relationship is with your cards, but if you want messages from your cards, it's best to do it with them. Alright, cool. Wow, this is looking really good. You're doing well for yourself with these cards and attuning with them. The first card you got was the Star. The Star is all about hope. So, you know, your cards are feeling really hopeful about what you've got going on, what you're developing. It's looking very positive in terms of what you're doing to attune, what you're doing to connect. The Six of Cups talks a bit more about the dynamic. So these cards that you have are quite good. The spirit that they have within them is very friendly, very generous. It's sort of like two siblings or two friends being able to give to each other. So the cards, you know, they may have a bit more wisdom, no matter how old you are, no matter how old the cards are, however you may define that. There's the sense of generosity and innocence, nostalgia involved. So a very caring relationship, because sometimes cards, they can be a bit more blunt, a bit less friendly, even if they mean well. But these cards, they seem quite positive for you. We have Judgment here too. Not a bad thing. Judgment is about, it's related to like things like the rapture. So things like an uprising, a response to a call. So your cards, you know, they hear you, they hear what you want, your intentions, you've made your intentions clear. And for them, they're saying they're interested in helping you get to the next level. So they're interested in the learning involved, the things that you wanted to do and develop. These are pretty solid cards for you to be able to work with on this. Nine of Cups, this is the wish fulfillment card. So wishes coming true, things going your way, achievement. So that's very positive as well. The Hierophant, in this context, I see it as sort of like initiatory rather than how we've been defining it in other readings, because cards can come through in different ways. But here I see it more as the cards hold the key for something that you're looking for. It can be something that's a bit mysterious, something that's a bit unknown to you right now. But this card tells me that, you know, your deck of cards is going to guide you in the right direction to where you're trying to get to. But above all, make sure you trust your intuition, because the Two of Swords here is about a figure who's blindfolded and has two swords, implying that there is a decision to be made. But we also have the moon in the corner, and the moon can talk about illusions, intuition, and choices. And so when I see this card popping up here, it's sort of like the card's way of saying, don't just rely on the cards for your answer. Make sure you trust yourself, your inner feelings, your gut feelings, your intuition as well. So don't just rely on the cards to tell you what to do, or who you should be, or how you should act. You know, as you can see here, they're all committed. It's all cool here. You're doing well. and then just make sure you trust yourself as well. So don't scare yourself, don't doubt yourself too much. Let yourself just be calm and grounded, and then pull cards, or just feel the energy of your cards to see where things are at. But yeah, you're looking really good with everything. So good job. You're welcome. Thanks for asking. It's nice that you care so much about your cards and learning. It's good to see. Yeah, you're doing good. Oh, Neppy redeemed and ask me anything. Feel free to ask me anything. Nappy, don't tell me that you claimed and asked me anything just to ask me that. Also, it's nice that you say thank you after each reading. It's very polite. The answer is yes, Nappy. You can queue for a reading if you'd like, but ask me a different question. That's not a fun question to answer. You just lost it. Don't look at Discord. I'm just... If you lost it because you were looking at Discord. Okay, sounds good. He feels like talking to you. Very rarely do I have a situation where the gods just like don't feel like talking to you, or they'll politely refer you to someone else. Does he get annoyed at your clarifications or not seeing signs? He answered without even pulling a card yet. He's like, Nikita, as much as I'd love for you to see my signs sooner or be a little faster on the draw of being able to see them, that doesn't mean I get annoyed by them, by your need for clarification or need for continuous signs to see me coming through. If you need a little bit of time, a little bit of help to see what I'm sending you, then that's alright. And you're not going to learn anything by worrying if I'm going to get annoyed at the clarifications you're asking for. The most I can ask for is for you to learn a lesson each time. To know a little bit more about how to identify the signs I'm sending. To know a little bit more of what you can ask next time to get a bit of a clearer answer. But no, not annoyed. Annoyed wouldn't be a good word to describe how I feel about that. That's his answer for you. Your question came back. When I started reading and getting messages through tools, did they feel monotone and emotionless/blunt? I would say yes, in that I didn't get as much personality. Not because like they were meaning to be monotone or blunt or emotionless. It was because yeah, like for me, it was because like I wasn't good at picking up on energy, and I didn't really. It's like familiarity as well, familiarity of the gods. But I think it's just practice, and then they'll come through a bit more clearly and a bit more. Well, I don't want to say emotional, but emotional, I guess, because it's not that the gods owe us that, but I do believe that the gods do express themselves in ways similar in ways to how we can express ourselves. They can feel a whole range of emotions. They're not just forever happy, benevolent beings. They do have wants, needs, desires, personalities, relationships with different people on different levels, stuff like that. But I wouldn't be too worried if you are concerned about them coming through monotone or emotionless. I wouldn't say it's a you thing, as in like they're feeling that way towards you. I think it's more about your capacity to receive. Yeah. Oh yeah, true. And tools themselves. I was just saying, yeah, before that some decks, they're a bit more blunt themselves as tools. But it's like if a tool comes through a bit more blunt, you get a bit of like spice of personality from the deity themselves if you practice and kind of learn to pick up on it. You've been worried because you're using coin divination, and sometimes he stops responding after a while. Well, if that's happening, I don't think it's because he's annoyed. Sometimes deities will like stop answering if they think they've answered enough, and then they want you to sit with the answer. So that's something you can consider as well. I'm trying to think if there's any other things I can think of, because sometimes this is something that happens with Bast as well. So like when I do readings with Bast, because I very rarely do tarot or oracle cards with her because she prefers to have more direct communication. And she thinks that tarot cards are limiting, or like any sort of cards are limiting for like what she's trying to get through. And so a lot of the time, oh, that's cute, the lovers. She'll like send me cards that tell me, like, rather than cards being related to the question I'm asking her, she'll send me cards that tell me like, oh, you should stop asking. Because, not because she doesn't want me to ask, but because, well, kind of because she doesn't want me to ask, but because it's like, I know that she doesn't like using cards. Will she send me one of those cards now? We'll see. Ah, she sent me the 10 of Cups. That's cute. Oh yeah, see? There you go. The Tower. That tells me, stop asking. So she gave me the Lovers, the 10 of Cups, and then the Tower. And then I see the Tower, I know that means time to stop. Because, yeah, it's like a thing where it's part of the relationship I have with her. And it could be the same thing with the relationship you have with Apollon, where he clearly doesn't want to just keep, like, it's like he doesn't get annoyed, but he doesn't want to keep, like, answering things when you already have the answer. So he wants you to sit with the answer, and he gets you to sit with the answer by withdrawing, right? And true what Armin said too, I think. God wants us to know what we need to know. I yawned and then I got the 4 of Swords. That's funny. Sleepy. Yeah. It could also be because he does express an interest in you using tools that are open to more like interpretation. So this is what like I'm receiving from him now in relation to this, where it's sort of like a recommendation to use coin divination with a different form of divination, because he says it gets boring if you use like yes no too much. He would rather if, like, for example, you do a yes no and then you use cards to expand on that. That might be useful. I don't use spreads in my readings. I tend to just pull cards as much as it feels like the deity or spirit wants, or like however many cards decide to come out, and then I intuitively get an idea of what the cards represent. So sometimes like the cards will be just free cards and then they have a message. So they might just like be here. Or sometimes they might come out in a way that like arranges them in a certain pattern. So like if you can look at the order they came out. So maybe there's pairs here and then this is the head card. And then this is a spread I've created for myself. And then I intuitively get an idea of what each thing might represent. MTG Oracle Pool. I do recommend spreads when you're learning, because they can be good for direction. But I have used spreads before, but they're not as useful for me because I prefer a more intuitive or channeled method of reading. Lady, do you want like a actual reading? Because you can queue if you want. I'll be finishing soon, but I'm open for you to queue. Cosmic Wisdom. That's cool. I do want to note, Lay, that Lucifer did just enter my space, because the other day when I was doing your reading, I got an exact tell in my space that he was here, and it's this breeze of cool air right at my face that suddenly appears when he's here, because there's no aircon on. My air purifier is on all day and I don't feel this any time during the day except when I don't feel it like during the day. Nothing's changed outside my room. My door's closed. It hasn't changed. But when I was reading with him yesterday, I think it was yesterday, I got this feeling and I was like, why does it feel like the aircon suddenly turned on? And it's like not even a big aircon. It's like a slight breeze, like tiny, like as if he's steadily like blowing cold air in my face. And then that just happened just now as I asked you if you want a reading. So anyway, to conclude, yeah, he's here. But this is your oracle card, Cosmic Wisdom, which is really cool. And trying to build up your intuition is good, Amen. And meditation is a good way to do that. I was going to say to you, Neppy, that they've been wanting, like, they want you to use cards. Like, you don't have to wait. And also, like, you learn meanings of cards by using cards. So don't be afraid to get into it because, like, learn on the job rather than trying to prepare when you don't really need to, in the way that not touching the cards until you learn their meanings is. Like, that's not... You don't have to wait. That's what I'm trying to say. In the nicest way. Right, let's see what he would like to communicate. We'll use the numeracle. I feel like I always pull these cards and I don't know if that's because the cards are just like weird like that or they genuinely are these cards for you. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to do a yes, no with the Rider-Waite to see if these cards are actually for you or if the deck is just in a way that makes it so the same cards keep coming out. It's just because I've noticed these 3 cards keep coming out for like whenever I'm pulling cards for anyone, and I'm really suspicious about that, so I want to double check if they're coming out correctly. Otherwise I'm going to pull cards in a different way that's not shuffling. Okay, well that's pretty clear about the cards. 3 of Swords, that's my stop pulling cards card. Alright, these are correct for you then. But your Rider-Waite cards with the Lovers and the 6 of Cups, which is cute. I love that. Alright, so you got Strength, waves, and reflection. I want to start with this reflection card because I think it's really beautiful. This is you at the window, you're looking out in the reflection, and you can see there's a tree outside that's kind of sparse. It's like a very branchy tree in winter, it doesn't have leaves on it. But you see all of these flowers and plants out around the window. And so he's kind of like, you know, you're sitting here looking out the window, you're looking at the sparse wintry landscape, you're thinking, oh dang, that tree is not growing, it's all gloomy outside. Let me just ignore all of this other beautiful growth that's around me in a lighthearted manner. But he wants you to acknowledge, really, like when you're reflecting upon yourself, when you're reflecting upon your path, your life, him, anything, he really wants you to see the beauty that's around you. You have to put more weight into it, like care about it more, and like give it more meaning than you're giving it, because it's like he's saying like you're acting as if it's just like, you know, another brick on the wall. Like there's bricks around here. It's like you're acting like all these leaves and plants are another brick on the wall. It's just normal. It has to be there because it's a brick, but it's more than that. It's the flowers and the plants. Strength is always a nice card, a reminder of your strength and your passion. He sees this red splotch here, like this red burst of paint behind the cat. He's saying that represents your mind recently, so perhaps after the reading you got as well, because that would coincide. But him saying like he likes to see you inspired, he likes to see you like this big splash, which is funny because waves and the water there, but this big splash of passion, so the red being passion of things that you care about, that you feel fiery about, that you fight up for. He likes to see that. And he wants you to really like hold that, catch it, and like not just let it go. What's interesting as well is that we have on the waves card a figure standing on a leaf, and then we have this cat also standing on a leaf. And then both of them are above water, like waves of water. So he's saying like whether you're like in the water on this leaf, like, you know, you're kind of like surfing the water, whether you're like above the water waiting, no matter the choice you make, it's going to be good, because you're leading by what inspires you, what ideas you have, the growth you see for yourself, the future that you're looking out towards. He says that you're already taking his advice. You're already seeing the things that he wants you to see. And that you don't need to like I feel like you kind of tell yourself like, oh well, I can't have already done what he said or accepted what he said or like figured out what he said, because it's only been a day. It's only been less than a week. It's only been this long. It needs to be this much time before I can even say that I've done this. And he's like, nah, that's not. Like, you know, he knows that you're fast. Like, you're a fast learner. You pick up on things. He doesn't care for time, he says. Like, he doesn't care to measure things by that. Like, he's kind of like a bit exasperated about it. He's like, why would you even think that I'm the type of the word that's wanting to come out of my mouth is person. I don't think he's wanting to say person, but why would you think I'm the type of person to even measure something like that by time? Of all things that you think that I would judge you on, you think it's that. And then he's like he can't believe it, but in the nice way, because he thinks that yeah, you're good where you are. Like, if you learn, you learn. It doesn't matter how long it takes to get there. He's essentially always told me time is finicky. Oh yeah, he's really showing that now. It's kind of like he's pointing back at a clock. He's like, get a load of this guy at the clock. It's funny. But yeah, that's your message from him. Oh, thank you, Lay. Yeah, heart for you. This was a good reading to finish up on. We had a bit of a stumbly start on some things, but I'm happy with these readings we're finishing off on. For some reason, it seems like the deities you want to channel through tend to channel through like at the end. And then it always happens to be like Neppy at the end, or like yourself, Lay. So you get the VIP experience because... Maybe because when I'm more tired, like I'm more open to... Like spiritually, I become more opened up to channeling. And so then they come through a bit more exact with the words they want to say. But in any case, that brings us to the end of our stream for this week. And thank you so much to everyone who joined in, who got a reading. I liked all the cool things that we discussed. Aw, that's very nice of you. Yeah, lucky last for a reason. Yeah. I mean, I always like doing readings for you anyway, Lay. So it's good when you get the chance. No worries, Armin. Thank you for joining. And, you know, keep at it with your deck. You're doing good. I don't know if there's anyone to go and raid today. No one's really streaming tarot right now. Yeah. No one I'd really want to raid at the moment, but yeah, okay. We'll just finish off then. And yeah, thank you again, everyone. Oh, just wanted to remind everyone again, if you hadn't seen, I recently released a super cool new listing on my Ko-fi, on my divination shop. It is live deity reading sessions for 30 minutes. And it's like this, but possibly even better, because it just gets to be with you rather than everyone. And so you can ask all the questions that you wouldn't want to ask on stream. And I'm much more focused on your session. You know, I do offering for your deity. It's just between the two of us. So could be a fun time to answer a lot of questions. There's no card limits. We just pull whatever cards the deity wants. No question limits. You just fit as many questions as you want in the time. I won't judge you if you want to go like, let's just go. There's add-ons. You can add 15 minutes more to make it a 45-minute session. You can also select written notes. So that means I take the time afterwards. I would have to record the session on my end, like the audio. I'll listen through again. I'll take a picture of the cards we pulled and I'll put it all in a document for you. So it's like a written record of the session that we had. And yeah, I'm just really excited because I've never done it before, like live readings like that. I've always done written ones because they're a bit more time, like they're easier to like time, whereas you have to book in for this one. But it's called The Messenger. It's named after Hermes. It's pictured after Hermes. Like I put the picture of Hermes statue. You book it in, you get a Calendly link where you can book in a time slot, and then we do it, and it's super cool. So hopefully, if you're interested, you can be among the first to actually bag that offer. And it's very cool that you want to get one, Neppy. Thank you so much for being interested. But I get you for wanting to wait. You want to make the most of the session as well, and don't book it and then come in and say you want a general reading, because you need to know the questions that you want to make the most of the time. Anyway, that's all from me. Thank you, everyone. Again, you're super cool and awesome. And if you have any questions for me about anything, let me know in the Discord as well about the offerings or, you know, whatever else. But having 10 ready is good. Can we do 10, like one question every 3 minutes, maybe? Depends on the question. All right. Catch you next time, everyone.